it's not life-changing win or lose this FA Cup final, because that transition has happened over the last 7-8 years with Guardiola. He is constantly turning over players, constantly going to the academy, finding players, and if they're not good, they go. If they're good, they stay, and he turns them into actually really good footballers. So I personally don't think FA Cup is like win or bust for a lot of these guys.
Crystal Palace and Manchester City go head-to-head in the FA Cup final this Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. Now, Palace are looking to lift the trophy for the first time ever, while City look to lift it for an 8th time. Now, what are the odds for these two teams to win the FA Cup? Well, for Man City, it is -250, and for Palace, it's +205. Now, guys, winning FA Cup, it's not just about a trophy in the trophy cabinet. It means a lot more, but for different reasons for City versus Palace. So, Zat, for Palace, what would it mean for them to lift the FA Cup for the first time in their history?
This would be massive for them, and obviously going into the game as underdogs. I would love to see them win it. I don't think they're going to win it, but they're going into this FA Cup final in a rich vein of form. I don't think they haven't lost in about 4 or 5 games. They've drawn a few games, but they've won some big games. Obviously beating Aston Villa 3-0 in the semi-finals at Wembley. So I think it'd be massive. It'd just be massive for them. I do hope they win. They're not going to win, but as a smaller club from South London, and some good young players down there, it'd be a massive thing for them.
Let's be clear. Everyone is rooting for Crystal Palace, right?
Yeah.
Everyone and their mothers. Only Manchester City fans are rooting for Manchester City, right?
Yeah, one would think.
Like, even Brighton fans, I think, are rooting for Crystal Palace.
No, look, I see it differently. I think Palace are going to beat them. I think Palace can get after them.
I disagree.
And they've shown that they can compete with Manchester City.
Yeah.
The recent 5-2 win, I think Palace got overeager, overzealous, and they were Kevin de Bruyne. I'm not going to stand for this. I do think the likes of Eze, prime to go after the City backline that's there for the taking, right? And Ismail Yashar has looked like a player reborn under Oliver Glasner. This is a side, Palace, that are made for cup competitions that I really am very high on.
The reason why I disagree with you, because the one thing what you said about Kevin de Bruyne, I think Pep Guardiola wants to send him, because he's being such a great player for Man City, they want to send him off with something. And I think this is that something. That's the only reason why I disagree. If it wasn't for Kevin de Bruyne, I'd probably be on your side a little bit, because I do feel Crystal Palace have got some great young talent. Eze obviously is going to try and get at the defence, but because of that one special player and Kevin de Bruyne, I think he wants to leave on a high.
The validation for Oliver Glasner winning a trophy like this against Manchester City for Crystal Palace would be huge for his project. I mean, think of where Palace were before when they had Olise. They've kind of ridden the ship, right? And they've got things right, are in this final, but at the same time, Manchester City has also corrected their issues. If this game was in December, I'd probably say Crystal Palace is going to win. It's very hard, if I was a betting man, to bet against City in this game.
In games like this, especially if you're the underdog, if you're Crystal Palace, right? When you're with your Fulhams or Villas, what's the difference to make sure that you get your hand on that trophy for these players from a Palace perspective?
Like I said, it's hard for me to answer that one, because I don't think it's really going to happen. But just because of the underdog is so big, and the experience from Man City is so big, that I think Crystal Palace just got to go out there and enjoy it. Just go out there and enjoy the game, leave everything out there, and whatever's meant to be is meant to be. But I think with Man City's depth, the experience, and what they've got to send off with Kevin de Bruyne, I think it's going to be a tough ask.
How much does it save the needle for Manchester City if they win the FA Cup? Like, does it salvage anything? For me, very little.
It doesn't move at all.
At all. It's still a bad season if they win.
Like you said, the last couple of months they've turned things around and just kind of been quiet, because obviously everything's been about Liverpool and a little bit of Arsenal. But it doesn't move the needle. It's just more so a nice send-off for De Bruyne. It's more so, alright, then he's got a piece of trophy for the 2000.
That's why we all need to root for Crystal Palace. Are you hearing this? It's not going to mean anything to them if they win the FA Cup. It's going to be like, okay, FA Cup.
And FA Cup and Champions League berth with the season that they've had doesn't move the needle for you?
It doesn't move. No, because
just the FA Cup by itself.
I think that there's a lot of recency bias with the way that they turn things around. Manchester City should just textbook always be in the Champions League. With the squad they have, the amount of money they spend, having arguably one of the best managers, if not the best manager of the history of football, you got to be making Champions League. And the slump from the beginning of the season really forced them to compensate the rest of the season. They made up for it. It's still a bad season, even if they win FA Cup.
By their standards.
By their standards, I think it is. And that's why we all got to root for Crystal Palace, because they don't, like, how much, at the end of the day, how much, is it going to be life-changing for any of these City players? For De Bruyne, it's going to be like
I think
a nice send-up. Life-changing.
I'm going to push back on that.
Yeah?
Right?
Okay.
If McAtee continues to do what he's doing in this FA Cup, that is life-changing for him. If Rico Lewis continues to do what he's done in the last couple rounds, that is life-changing. The reason why I push back is that the changing of the guard is happening right before our eyes with Manchester City. This is the
going to happen anyway, with or without an FA Cup.
This is the Kevin de Bruyne send-off. Erling Haaland literally just came back. So who are you outside of those players? We haven't known the answer to that, and we're seeing that transition happen in real time. So for those young players to step up in a final, that does matter. We saw it with last year.
Sure, it does matter.
Yeah.
It's not life-changing win or lose this FA Cup final, because that transition has happened over the last 7-8 years with Guardiola. He is constantly turning over players, constantly going to the academy, finding players, and if they're not good, they go. If they're good, they stay, and he turns them into actually really good footballers. So I personally don't think FA Cup is like win or bust for a lot of these guys. I think McAtee is going to be good if he wins or loses, if he has a good final or a bad final. Pep obviously has trust in him, has trust in Rico Lewis. But on the flip side, life-changing for Crystal Palace, from the first person on that team sheet to the last person on the bench. This trophy is life-changing for Crystal Palace. That's why it feels like for Manchester City, it's almost like routine for them.
No, I definitely agree with you, because Crystal Palace is like a Fulham, small little club. I've never won a trophy in my career. So for them players here right now, that some of them can win their first ever trophy. So going back to his point, I feel that it is more life-changing for Crystal Palace than it is Man City.
Well, we'll see how this one plays out. This weekend, FA Cup final, Manchester City taking on Crystal Palace, 11:30 a.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys stay on your couch Saturday morning to watch that one.